opaque instrument, anonymous instrument, in fact, promotes corruption in the country, because there is good reason to believe, and I'll show Lord why, that these bonds are being given by way of kickbacks to parties in power. Almost all the bonds have been received only by parties in power. More than 50% have been received only by the ruling party at the center, and the rest have been received only by the ruling party in the states. Virtually nothing, not even 1%, has been received by opposition parties which are not ruling in the center or at the states. And virtually all the bonds have been purchased by corporates, by companies, because they are almost all of denomination of 1 crore and above. 95% are in the denomination of 1 crore. You have removed the cap on corporate donations and amended FCRA.
But what was the reason why that was removed? The experience had shown that in a given sector, for example, where the business environment should be business friendly, in terms of the administrative or political setup, some companies wanted to donate, say, 10% or 15%. Okay? Now there was a cap, 7.5%. What used to happen was that company would create shell companies. So I would, as a main company, donate 7.5%, and from that shell company, I would donate 7.5% to make it 15%. With a view to discourage creation of shell companies, we have said that it is the company doing the business. If they want to donate more than 7.5%, let them do it. Let that discretion remain with them. As a government or as a parliament, it's none of our business to prescribe that ceiling. They don't use more than 7.5%.
Under the Prevention of Corruption Act, Section 7 of the Prevention of Corruption Act, you give money to a public servant. Members of parliament are public servants. Many members of the political party who are in the fray are public servants. Under Section 7, you can also prosecute a person in anticipation of a favor. So you give a donation, no questions asked, you get a favor, you cannot correlate one with the other, and I can't prosecute you. This is a scheme to protect criminals from being prosecuted. You'll never get to know. Rather than furthering the rule of law, it stymies it.
I would earnestly urge to start with a presumption that every contribution should necessarily be a part of corruption may perhaps be a wrong way of looking at things. It may be that in some cases it can be quid pro quo. But the experience has suggested that in most cases, whoever donates, they donate which kind of a government they want. Maybe out of 110, maybe kickbacks.
The legally ordained informational black hole, which this creates, the electoral bond scheme creates, goes against the concept of informed electorate. So it goes against the principle which is constitutionally mandated of an informed electorate under Article 19(1)A, read with Article 326. This matter is essentially about two things, democracy and disclosure. Those are the two fundamentals, in my respectful submission, which guide the underlying issues which arise in this matter. This is about something which pervades all those aspects, which is disclosure. Every aspect it pervades, which is disclosure, and disclosure not just to authorities. There are two kinds of disclosures. One is I should only disclose to the Election Commission. That may not be sufficient. This is about disclosure to the authorities and to the public at large. And that is where the rights under 19(1)A, 326 come into play.
In all the countries, UK, US, Japan, Australia, and Germany, most countries do not allow corporate donations at all. But where they do allow, there's no opacity. What is the scheme? If it's less than 2,000 rupees, it's cash. If it's more than 20,000 rupees, the name of the donor has to be given. And if it is electoral bonds, nothing. This constitution is for the citizens of this country to participate in the election. The corporate sector is not a voter. The citizen is the voter. The citizen is entitled to contribute. If he gives more than 20,000 rupees, his name will be there. But the corporate sector, who is not a citizen, can donate 10 crores, 100 crores. His name will not be there. What's the rationale for that? I, as a citizen's name, it will have to be disclosed. So is the corporate sector is being granted a privilege over a citizen of this country? That privilege of anonymity? How is he more privileged than a citizen who is at the heart of the Constitution of India? But if the voice of the corporate sector drowns the voices of citizens, that's a very dangerous trend in democracy. It must never be forgotten that this Constitution is citizen-centric. It is for the citizens to decide to donate. If you want corporate funding, then that corporate funding must be for the electoral process. It must not be for political parties.